Okay, first concept that I would like to discuss is due process. Di ba naririnig natin yan since time immemorial, every time na may kinakasuhan na tiwali sa gobyerno, there is always an invocation of due process. Now, what is due process? Di ba? Anong klaseng animal to? Okay, due process basically is enshrined in the Constitution. Section 1, Article 3 of the Constitution, which is the Bill of Rights, which states that no one or nobody shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Okay? So, parang ano yan di ba? For my friends out there, di ba? Yung mga idol ko nung kabataan ko, di ba? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Yan. Minsan naman, di ba, ginawang life, liberty, and the happiness of pursuit. Well, that's a different story altogether, no? That requires another show. Anyway, para sa ating mga katropa lahat ng mga nakikinig dyan, due process has two components. Okay? May tinatawag na substantive due process, yung sustansya ng due process. Meron namang procedural o yung tinatawag natin na proseso. Okay? Now, what is substantive due process? Substantive due process goes into the very being of what makes a person, a human being, enhancing his dignity. Okay? As a backgrounder kasi, government, the basic concept of government is all-powerful. Okay? It can do anything that it wants. Okay? It can ruin your life. It can dictate your life. Okay? Kunyari, sabihin ng gobyerno, dapat isa lang anak mo. Di ba? May mga bansang ganyan Di ba? There are some countries that specifically have adopted policies that seek to curtail population growth. Di ba? So, under our Constitution, that is a violation of substantive due process. Why? Because it is within your right and it is inherent in your dignity to choose the size of your family. Okay? And it also is in compliance with the constitutional mandate that the state shall protect and enhance the family as the basic social unit. Okay? So, let's go back. Okay? How powerful is government? Like I said, government can do anything. It can even dictate to you how big your family will be. Now, the Bill of Rights is there in order to curtail those powers of government. Ano yan parang yan yung preno, di ba? Pagka humahato yung gobyerno, yung estado, sinasabi ko, dinidiktahan ka na, yung Bill of Rights nandiyan, teka muna sandali, hindi mo pwedeng gawin yan. Okay? Hindi mo pwedeng pabagsakin or pababain ang dignidad ng tao or deprive him of justice. Okay? So, given that scenario, okay, substantive due process basically means hindi mo pwedeng pakialam ang certain facets or aspects ng buhay ng mga mamamayan. Okay? Given that, substantive due process basically is addressed primarily to the legislature. Okay? That you cannot pass a law. Yun nga, like my example, that you cannot curtail the size of the family because that is a determination of the couple, of the parties to a marriage or to a relationship. Free speech is another thing. Okay? You cannot curtail that. In fact, you cannot even pass legislation in anticipation of saying something that is seditious or libelous. Okay? Those are some of the examples there. So it's primarily addressed to the legislature. Now, let's talk about procedural due process. Okay? Ito naririnig natin ngayon sa, di ba, sa TV, sa radyo, during the hearing. Ewan ko kung napanood ninyo yung hearing ng Justice Committee kahapon yata, no? Or the other day, na si Chief Justice Sereno is invoking her right to procedural due process because she wants to cross-examine the witnesses. Okay? Let's take a step back. Okay? What is impeachment? Impeachment is basically a mechanism enshrined in the Constitution to make identified impeachable officers accountable for any transgressions they commit. In short, di ba, ito ay isang proseso na ang objective ay panagutin itong mga tinatawag na identified in the Constitution also, impeachable officials. Okay. So who are the impeachable officials? The President, the Vice President, the members of the Supreme Court, the Chairman of the Commission on Audit, the Chairman and members of COMELEC, I think also the Civil Service Commission, the Ombudsman. Okay. So given that impeachment is a process, we are now going to procedural due process because it involves procedure. Okay? Isang tabi na lang muna natin yung substantive due process. Yung substantive kasi sa impeachment is their basis to remove her. Okay? Or to remove the Chief Justice from office. Remember, impeachment, okay, the penalty is not imprisonment, ha? There is no civil liability na magbabayad ka ng damages or you will be held liable to pay a fine or a penalty. Okay? The penalty in impeachment is removal from office. In fact, the late great Senator Miriam Santiago was also positing the theory, since the Constitution states that the penalty shall involve no more than removal from office, pwede nga daw suspension. Or pwedeng admonition, meaning to say pagsasabihan ka, or public censure, di ba? In writing. Anyway, so yun ang penalty ng impeachment. It will, the result of an impeachment will be removal from office. Okay. So now, let us go to one of the issues that the Chief Justice raised, which is her right, invoking her right to cross-examine the witnesses. Again, you know, the right to confront and cross-examine the witnesses against you is also found in Article 3 of the Constitution, in the Bill of Rights. Hindi lang naman Section 1 na no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, and property without due process of law. Okay? Maraming karapatan ang nandun. Kumbaga, let's look at Section 1 as the catch-all provision. Ika ngayon yung pinaka-umbrella niyan. And then all on down the line, nagiging mas detalyado. Okay? Like for example, yung tao na aresto, okay? Meron doon sinasabi na you have the right to remain silent. Di ba? Nakikita natin sa mga pelikula yan. Di ba? Pagka inaresto yung suspect o yung ano, di ba? Ano sinasabi? Oh, you have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Oh, di ba? You have anything you say will be used against you. So, may karapatan kang manahimik. Okay? And then, when trial takes place, you are being made to answer for your offense. One of the rights there is to cross-examine the witnesses against you. Meaning, what is cross-examination? Okay? In trial practice, cross-examination means that you have a right to determine, to propound questions to a witness who is adverse against you in order to test his credibility and truthfulness and the truthfulness of his statements. Kasi alam niyo mga kaibigan syempre madaling mag-akusa di ba? Madaling magparatang madaling, di ba? Nakikita natin yan araw-araw madaling mag-akusa, si ganito magnanakaw, si ganito ginawa ito. Pero, di ba? Kailangan patunayan mo muna. Diba? So that is what she is invoking, you know, the right to cross-examine the witnesses. Now, an impeachment proceeding, she is, well, you know, one of the arguments being propounded is that an impeachment proceeding is sui generis, okay? Sui generis is a Latin term meaning in a class of its own, di ba? Kakaiba siya. Kakaiba siya. It is not found anywhere else. Okay? So, you know, the proceedings before the Justice Committee, that is mandated kasi by the Constitution. 2 steps yan Okay? Let's take a step. 2 steps yan. First, Justice Committee determines, is there probable cause? Okay? Probable cause meaning probably, baka nga. Diba? Probable cause is defined as, assuming what Attorney Gadon said and what he put in his affidavit and the documents that he presented, is there a probability na may nagawang kasalanan yung Chief Justice? Yun lang ang probable cause. Yung trial mismo, kung guilty siya o hindi, yung Chief Justice, sa Senado ginagawa. Okay? So, if we were to determine probable cause, ang sinasabi ni Chief Justice, hindi pwede. Kailangan, present ako dyan, i-cross-examine ko yung mga witnesses. Tatanungin ko rin sila, okay, yung witnesses ni Atty. Gadon, I understand, di ba, si Justice Teresita de Castro gustong tanungin, gustong i-cross-examine. I want to check whether what they are saying is true or not. Okay, so that is her main argument. And since this is a sui generis proceeding, okay, I have a right to do that because this is a class of its own. Di ba? Kakaiba to eh. This is a different proceeding which you can not find in any other court anywhere in the Philippines. Not even in the Supreme Court. Okay, so that is one of her arguments. Now, what is the counter now of the other side of Atty. Gadon, and which the Justice Committee upheld? The Justice Committee said, no, you were not allowed to cross-examine, okay? Because I don't know if the chairman of the committee or any of the committee members discussed it, but my take on this is that, there is a time and place for everything. Di ba? Yung probable cause kasi, parang sa piskalya, yung mga naka-attend dyan or yung mga abogado dyan, alam nila. Yung probable cause kasi is just a determination ng probably nga eh. Kaya nga probably. Di ba? Baka meron. Di ba? You are not going to be found guilty right there in the committee. Baka lang. So ang sinabi ng committee, no, you are not allowed to cross-examine kasi nga probable cause lang to. What you are asking for now, if you are going to cross-examine the witnesses, nagiging full-blown trial na. Diba? Parang you are now transferring yung authority to decide whether guilty si Chief Justice of the offenses alleged against her. You are transferring it now from the Senate to the Justice Committee. See, that is the problem there. Okay? Now, ang sinabi naman, further going down on that, on that train of thought, you are not allowed to cross-examine, which is, to my mind, tama din. Because nga, it's just probable cause, di ba? I mean, it's like in the proceedings before the prosecutor's office, di ba? Yung isang kaibigan ko dyan, si Prosecutor Darwin Cañete, di ba? Alam niya yan, di ba? Ang sasabihin niya, kunyari, nag-appeal ka sa kanya, papel-papel lang. Okay, gusto ko lang makita yung mga posisyon ninyo, mga affidavit ninyo. Walang cross-examination dito because si Prosecutor Cañete, hindi ka naman huhusgahan eh. Hindi ka naman ikukulong yan. Okay? He is just going to find out kung kailangan iakyat ito sa Senado or sa husgado for trial. Parang ganito lang yan mga kaibigan eh. Di ba? Kung may sira yung sasakyan ninyo, di ba? Siyempre, dadalhin mo, hindi mo alam kung ano nangyari, dadalhin mo sa mekaniko. Di ba? Tatanong mo, pakicheck nga yung aircon o yung transmission o ano yung sira nito. Kunyari, TV or appliance or whatever, di ba? Or cellphone. Di ba? Yun ang first step sa proseso. Pagkatapos niyang malaman kung anong problema, itatanong sa iyo, anong sir, ma'am, pagawa na natin. Di ba? Yun ang second step. Yung unang step, titignan muna kung sira at kung ano ang sira. Okay? So that's the most simple explanation that I can propound to everybody. Now, going back, okay. So she is saying now that she needs to, she should be given the right to cross-examine the witnesses. Like I said, the Justice Committee ruled in that. Now, is that a violation of due process? No. Because like I said, there is a time and place for everything, di ba? May oras, may nakatakdang opportunity at saka oras para dyan. Okay? So, now, so there was a denial, another one of the points also propounded by I believe the Speaker of the House, Speaker Alvarez, that, well, you know, she doesn't have the right to cross-examine the witness, but she should be present. Okay? Now, ako naman, hindi ako agree dyan. Because whether she is present or not, the case will proceed. Okay? Now, requiring her presence there strictly from a legal point of view, hindi naman kailangan eh. Di ba? Kagaya sa husgado, under certain circumstances, di ba, the person being accused does not need to be present at the trial. Like I said, under certain circumstances, the accused, that is one of your rights. Again, under the Bill of Rights, it's part of procedural due process. You can waive your right to be present. Okay? So, pag hindi nagpakita yung akusado o yung nasasakdal, wag naman ho tayong di ba, magmaktol dyan o mawala ng loob. Kasi part ng, part ng due process yan eh. At the end of the day naman kasi, ang importante, yung ginawa mo ba, pananagutan ka o hindi, tama ba o mali yung ginawa mo, or may kasalanan ka ba o wala. Yun lang naman ang importante dun eh. Okay? So, now, comparing this, okay, now we know that recent history, okay, first stage, diba, there was a committee hearing, okay, si Attorney Gadon was asked questions, and then they put it to a vote, okay, and we all know that the number of legislators or congressmen, 1/3 of the House of Representatives voted to impeach her, that the impeachment complaint was sufficient in form and substance. Okay. Sufficiency in, again, naririnig natin to, sufficiency in form of substance. Ano bang ibig sabihin? Sufficiency in form. Form. Ano ang form sa Pilipino? Forma. Di ba? Ano yung itsura niya? Di ba? Guwapo ba siya? Matikas ba siya? Maganda ba siya? Yun ang ibig sabihin ng form. You know, na pagkakaalam natin. But legally speaking, form means may verification yan, di ba? Parang yung tinatawag natin, kailangan notaryado, pinanotaryo yan. O yan, check, notaryado. Meron pa nga minsan sa mga ibang ahensya ng gobyerno, titignan pati yung spacing mo. Yung spacing mo sa bond paper, no? Na kailangan ganito, na medyo 1 inch from the left, 1.5 inches from the right, 2 inches from above, 1 inch from below. Pati yung ganon, yung forma, yung itsura, yung spacing. Yun. Ano sabi ng committee? Check. Okay? Yung issue doon, may personal knowledge ba si Attorney Gadon? Which is one of the issues that we're going to tackle later on, no? And marami kasi yan eh. Okay? May personal knowledge ba si Attorney Gadon? Ang sabi ng committee, check. Okay? So, since inapprove yung sufficiency in form and in substance, marami tayong mga messages dito, no? So, teka lang, no? After the discussion, no, we will tackle your questions one by one. Okay? So, after the determination of sufficiency in form and substance, yung substance, very simple. May kasalanan ba o wala? Diba? Based on the documents, may kasalanan ba or wala? It's as simple as that. Okay? So, there was now a determination na it's sufficiently in form and substance. Ang ginawa ngayon ng House of Representatives, binigyan pa ng additional hearing si Chief Justice Sereno to determine nga kung may probable cause. So, the Committee or the House of Representatives went beyond, okay, the parameters set by its own rules and the Constitution. Now, we will pause for a short break because kinukulit na ako dito ni ng mga madam dito. Okay, we will be right back. Okay, we will discuss due process again and using as example the case of Chief Justice Sereno. We'll be right back.
A-Try Media, DZRJ, ang himpilan ng bawat Pilipino.
Frutos at manchapi, lamig ng iPhone, hiling ng Bifresh. Inuman mo ka ng may juice at mainit na Chopwick. Bigyan mo pa ng Monami, Yummy at Solaki. Pasko kami namamasko. Maligayang Pasko po mula sa Columbia.
Basta may dalang frutos, siguradong ubos.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas, everybody! The RJ Guitar Center Legendary Sale is on again. A 2-day Christmas sale. December 9 and December 10, Saturday and Sunday. Every item in all the stores is on sale. From guitars, amplifiers, keyboards, drums, accessories, everything in the store. Now listen to this. From opening to 12 noon, 20% off. From 12 noon to 1 p.m., 25% off. From 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., 30% off. From 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., 35% off. From 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., 40% off. From 8 p.m. till closing, 50% off. RJ Guitar Center has 24 branches. You can log on to www.rjguitarcenter.com. See you at RJ Guitar Center 2-day Christmas sale, December 9 and December 10.
For DTI FTEB permit number 1301, series of 2017.
Iginawad sa nag-iisang action lady ng Philippine Broadcasting, Miss Kay Dacer, ang Best Choice Achievers Awards 2017 sa multimedia broadcasting industry. Isang karangalan at taus-pusong pasasalamat mula sa A-Try Media, ang himpilan ng bawat Pilipino. Para sa inyong mga sumbong, tumawag sa 8888. Ito ang National Complaint Hotline Number ng pamahalaan. Sumbong para sa mga korap na opisyal ng gobyerno, mga opisyal na hindi nagtatrabaho ng maayos, maging ang mga tiwangwang at hindi natapos na proyekto ng gobyerno ay maaaring isumbong sa 8888. Isang paalala mula sa DZRJ 810 AM. A-Try Media, ang himpilan ng bawat Pilipino. A-Try Media, DZRJ, ang himpilan ng bawat Pilipino. Education Radio, where we do anything and everything about Philippine radio with our host, Miss Pia Morato.
Good morning ulit sa mga nakikinig at nanonood sa Facebook Live. Okay? Hindi po ako si Miss Pia Morato. Yun, sigurado ako dyan. Okay? Hindi ako kasing ganda ni Miss Pia Morato at hindi ako kasing talino ni Miss Pia Morato. Ako po si Attorney Tom Berenguer. Pansamantala pong filling in for Miss Pia Morato. Napaka-talentado, talented at napakagandang Miss Pia Morato. Okay? So, mahirap na kasi baka maano tayo, di ba? Baka ma-libel tayo. Okay, anyway, going back, pag-usapan natin ng due process. Okay? So, we were discussing what is substantive, what is procedural due process, what were the allegations or points raised by the Chief Justice in the hearings before the Justice Committee. Okay, so we are now at the point where the Justice Committee now is conducting hearings for the determination of probable cause. Okay. Sa totoo lang, parang saan nila hinugot yun from my point of view. Kasi if we were to go back to the impeachment of a Chief Justice in our recent history, alam naman natin ang nangyari, di ba? Nung umabot ng 173, more or less, I think, no? if I will recall, nung umabot ng 173 signatures, yung impeachment complaint against Chief Justice Corona, and I believe that was, I think, a Sunday. The articles of impeachment were transmitted immediately to the Senate for trial. Okay? Chief Justice Corona was not even given the opportunity to present his rebuttal to all the allegations against him. Okay, dito pa nga kay Chief Justice Sereno, may 3 steps pa. Okay? May determination of probable cause. Meaning to say, hihimay-himayin nila lahat ng articles of impeachment. I think there are about 14 articles of impeachment. So, iisa-isahin nila ngayon. Okay? Ibig sabihin, okay, kunyari, Article 1, Chief Justice Sereno, let's say, betrayed the public trust because she interfered in the appointment of Justice Francis Hardelesa by dictating to the Judicial and Bar Council to remove his name from the short list of nominees for the position of Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. So, there's another allegation that, diba, she betrayed the public trust or, committed graft and corruption when she bought a Land Cruiser. Diba? Yan ang dream car ng marami, lalo na yung mga boys, diba? Pag naka-Land Cruiser ka, wow, diba? Parang naaabot mo na yung di ba? The pinnacle of success, di ba? Mga yan, mga laruan ng mga big boys yan eh. Another one is that she falsified Supreme Court resolutions in creating a regional court administrator in Cebu without the permission of the entire Supreme Court. Why entire Supreme Court, you may ask? Parang sabi mo, magtatayo ka lang naman ng opisina dyan, di ba? Efficient service of, efficient delivery of services yan sa publiko. Bakit hindi na lang si Chief Justice ang pumirma niyan at gumawa ng opisina, di ba? Lagyan ng lagyan ng item yan, mag-allocate ng budget yan, at mag-appoint ng tao. Bakit hindi na lang si Chief Justice ganun? Ang problema kasi mga kaibigan judicial power is vested in one Supreme Court. Yan ang sinasabi kasi ng Constitution eh. Kung sinabi ng Constitution, judicial power is vested in one Chief Justice who shall head the Supreme Court, yun papayag ako. Pwede ang Chief Justice na gumawa niyan. Kaso hindi eh. Yun ang problema. It's vested in one Supreme Court. So now, lahat ito hinihimay isa-isa. Okay? Hinihimay isa-isa lahat ng allegations. So, in short, yung committee, ang inaano nila, nakalatag to lahat. Ano ba ang papasa sa atin? Ano ba ang mukhang pasado dito that will stand trial? Okay. Itong Article 1, yan, lusot yan. Itong Article 2, mukhang wala mahina, tanggal yan. So, that is what they are doing now. And if we will recall that that privilege was never given to Chief Justice Corona. Remember kay Chief Justice Corona, there were about 8 articles. Pati nga yung Philippine Airlines daw na nakakakuha siya ng libreng ticket or something, business class ticket, free travel. Pati yun na-raise against him. Sinabi he had 45 properties. Pero ano pala yung 45 properties na yun? Yung mga iba na ibenta na, yung mga iba pag-aari ng mga anak niya, ng mga profesional, mga doktor, yung isa pa nga yata physical therapist sa Amerika. So shout out dyan sa mga physical therapist, ang gagaling ninyo ha, mahirap na trabaho yan. Pero alam naman natin, ang physical therapist, mahusay kumita, lalo na pag nagpa-practice sa ibang bansa, kasi specialized yan. Okay? So, there was an allegation that Chief Justice Corona had 45 properties. Okay? Anong lumabas ng trial? Kasi nga, hindi dumaan sa committee, sa baba, anong nangyari? Yung mga ibang properties na sa pangalan ng anak, yung mga iba na ibenta na dati pa, yung mga iba naman, parking lot. Okay? So, pag bumili ka ng condominium, di ba, nakapag-ipon ka ng konti, alam mo, marami tayong mga kaibigan ng OFW dyan eh. Di ba? Kayod-gabayod dyan sa ibang bansa, pero siyempre iniisip pag nag-retire na ako, balik na ako ng Pilipinas, uwi na ako, pahinga na, di ba? Bili naman ako ng condominium. O kaya may mga kaibigan tayo na medyo magaganda yung mga trabaho dyan sa ibang bansa, di ba? Nasa technical or IT na malalaki mga sweldo. Ngayon pala, nag-i-invest na, di ba? O paparentahan, di ba? Bibili na maliit na condominium, pwede mong parentahan, Airbnb, additional income. So, yun ang nangyari kay Chief Justice Corona. Ano ba yung mga allegations against him? The most, I guess, damning allegation that really got him was the allegation that he had something like 800 million in bank deposits. Pero, anong napatunayan doon sa hearing sa Senado? Di ba? Ang basis ng prosecution ng 800 million is bank transactions. Ibig sabihin, may 1,000 ka sa bangko, nag-withdraw ka ng 500, ang assets mo is 1,500. Okay? Meron kang 1,000, nag-withdraw ka ng 500, so 1,500 ang total assets mo, na igastos mo yung 500 sa palengke o nabili ka ng gamit, tapos sumweldo ka, nag-deposit, let's say, yung kumpanya ng 5,000 sa account mo, ang total assets, ang total cash mo is 6,500. So, ganun ang ginawa nila. So, in short, na-question sila ngayon. Di ba? So, the Justice Committee now wants to avoid that, which I think is favorable, in fact, to Chief Justice Sereno. Kasi, like I said earlier, no, madali kasi magparatang eh. Di ba? Ano ang ebidensya mo? Alam mo yung mga ganyan eh, madali magparatang, ano yan eh. Di ba? Parang yan yung yan yung parang uso ngayon eh. Di ba? Yung mga nagpaparatang ka lang na wala namang prueba. Okay? Sorry ha, medyo maaga, tsaka late na ako natulog kaya ganito. Okay. So yun ang nangyayari. Now, may mga question dito. Okay? Can they amend the complaint at this stage? Siguro. Di ba? Because amendments naman can be made at the course of the proceeding, eh, going by the rules of court. But if you were to go by yun nga problema kasi, an impeachment complaint, like I said, is sui generis. It is a class on its own. Di ba? Yung rules of court that covers all courts and all proceedings, uniform in all courts of law. Courts of law, ha? Take note, courts of law, hindi applicable sa mga NLRC, sa labor arbiter, hindi applicable yan. May sariling rules sa mga yan. But, being sui generis, it has its own internal rules. But I would say that, you can amend the complaint naman. Di ba? You can amend the complaint to clarify lang. Okay? Take note, ha? Again, this goes into due process. When you amend the complaint, it only goes into certain matters like form or for clarification of certain matters alleged in the complaint. You cannot amend the complaint to introduce an entirely new case. Kasi again, it violates due process. And one of the rights of due process is the right to be informed of the accusation against you. Di ba? Dapat lang naman eh, it's founded on common sense, di ba? Paano kita sasagutin kung hindi ko alam yung paratang na sinasabi mo tungkol sa akin? Paano ako makakasagot? Kailangan, advisean mo muna ako, di ba? O ipaalam mo sa akin kung ano yung paratang mo. That's basic due process. Okay? So good morning din sa mga nakikinig or nanonood or nakikinig at nanonood at the same time. Bilib ako sa inyo. Hindi ko alam kung paano nyo ginagawa yan sabay-sabay. Anyway, di ba? Joke lang yun, ha? Corny, pero joke lang yun. Now, so what do we expect after this? Well, she is impeached. Okay, the Chief Justice is impeached. That is a fact. You cannot erase that anymore. Okay, it will go to the Senate for trial. At this point, ang pinag-uusapan nila, alin sa mga paratang laban kay Chief Justice Sereno ang iaakyat ng committee for trial. Okay, so now when we go to the Senate, again, due process is also available. Okay, and what can we expect in the trial in the Senate? Well, very recently, that was 2012, which is about 5 years ago. Very, very recent lang, di ba? So mga nanonood dyan, everyday, nakatutok everyday. Ako nakatutok ako everyday kasi syempre, natututo din ako di ba? So, well, we can expect the same thing, di ba? She will be given the opportunity to present her evidence. The prosecution will be given the opportunity to present evidence also. And then verdict. Okay? Now, yung, ika nga, yung judgment o yung decision ng impeachment court, dalawa lang yan. Okay? 50-50. Either absuelto siya or convicted siya, tanggal sa posisyon. Ganun lang kasimple yun. Kaya, yan ang ano lang, yan ang ano dyan eh. When clients ask me, oh, attorney, ano ang chance natin manalo? 50-50. Kasi gano'n naman talaga yan eh. Dalawa lang talaga. Wala namang ano eh, wala namang ano yung husgado na sasabihin, pass. Hindi ako mag-ano, hindi ko di-decision to, pass muna. 'Di ba? Walang gano'n eh. 'Di ba? Either yes or no, guilty, not guilty, panalo, talo, gano'n lang kasimple 'yon. Okay? Okay, another point raised, no? Impeachment is a political exercise. Correct. I will agree with that. Okay? Yun ang going back, no, to the term sui generis. Okay? Impeachment is not only a process, it's not only a what you call a judicial process na kailangan ng due process, kailangan respetuhin yung karapatan ng akusado, kailangan i-inform siya kung ano yung mga paratang at akusasyon laban sa kanya, kailangan bigyan siya ng opportunity to defend herself, lahat yung kasama. Pero being a political exercise kasi, okay, it all boils down to numbers. Okay? So, some people are saying, kahit anong sabihin mo, kunyari, sa impeachment ni Chief Justice Corona, may isang senador nagsabi, ako, boboto lang ako, hindi naman ako abogado, pero boboto ako according to konsensya. Kalimutan na natin yan. Political exercise yan eh. And we all know that in a political exercise, it's always, factor in there is the interest of the politician involved. Diba? Because ang argument nga ng politiko is, elected official ako eh, may constituency ako. Okay? So if my constituency, feeling, quote-unquote, di ba, mahilig sila gano'n, feeling the pulse of the people, gusto ganito ang boto ko, gano'n ang iboboto ko. So kahit, napatunayan na ang daming paratang kay Chief Justice Corona, hindi totoo, or sablay, okay, di ba, sabi nga ni Miriam di ba, falsus in uno, falsus in omnibus, false in one, false in all. Lahat ng ebidensya mo, kalokohan, lahat ng ebidensya mo, peke. Kahit ganun yung, may prinsipyong ganun, strictly in a court of law, ano pa rin nangyari? Na-convict pa rin si Chief Justice Corona. That is what you call the political exercise equation in an impeachment proceeding. Okay? So, again, balancing act, no? Balancing act. They will give due process to the incumbent Chief Justice. They will give her the opportunity to answer, all the allegations against her. They will give her the opportunity to be represented by lawyers. They will give her the opportunity to present evidence in her behalf. They will give her the opportunity to subpoena. Lahat ibibigay sa kanya yan. Okay, that's what we can expect. As to how the impeachment vote will come out, that is another issue altogether. Because, majority of our senators are not lawyers kasi. The Senate will be the one to conduct the trial, ha? The Senate, remember that, two-step process yan. Okay, going back, ha? Senate will be the one to conduct the trial. Majority of our senators are not lawyers. Okay? So, they're not being lawyers, of course, they will consult their staff who are lawyers, their fellow senators who are lawyers. But again, even for the lawyers in the Senate, it's still a numbers game. Okay, it's a political exercise. So, okay, we will just go over some of the questions here that were propounded. Okay, personal knowledge daw ni Attorney Larry Gadon. Okay, ito maganda to eh. Okay, people are questioning, and it came out in the committee, that si Attorney Gadon daw does not have personal knowledge on some of the allegations. Okay, now, I have not read the complaint, okay, but I know, I followed the hearings, I don't know if it was yesterday or the other day. There was an allegation that, there was a line of questioning regarding the allegation of Attorney Gadon that Chief Justice Sereno, she interfered, in the nomination of Francis Hardelesa as Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. Okay? So, ang naging issue dyan is, nakialam daw si Chief Justice Sereno sa pag-nominate kay Hardelesa. So sabi may mga nagsasabi na, internal yan sa Supreme Court. Ha? Those are internal processes that nobody should be allowed to know. Bakit mo nalaman? Diba? Well, may point sila doon, internal yan. A lot of the proceedings before the Supreme Court, lalo na yung mga ganyan, ay mga confidential yan. Judicial and Bar Council, yan yung nangyari doon. No? Because the Judicial and Bar Council, nominates appointees to the judiciary. So, anyway, so paano mo alam yan, Attorney Gadon? Di ba? Were you there? Wala kang personal knowledge. Okay. Ito yung sagot doon. Okay. There was an actual case that filed by Attorney Hardelesa, by Justice Hardelesa himself. Okay. You can research it. It's GR number 213181, dated August 19, 2014. The title of the case is Francis H. Hardelesa, petitioner, versus Chief Justice Maria Lourdes P.A. Sereno, the Judicial and Bar Council, and Executive Secretary Paquito N. Ochoa Jr., respondents. Okay? Now, ano yung issue dun sa kaso niya? Well, apparently, Justice Hardelesa at the time, who was Solicitor General, okay, was nominated to the Supreme Court. So pag na-nominate ka for membership to the Supreme Court, okay, pupunta yan sa Judicial and Bar Council. Okay? Yung Judicial and Bar Council, yan ang nag-vet. Okay? Yan ang parang sinasala nila yung mga na-nominate for the Supreme Court. So, nasubmit na yung pangalan ni Justice Hardelesa. Ang lumalabas daw, si Chief Justice Sereno, tumawag daw sa Judicial and Bar Council, or I'm not very sure of the facts, but she made it known that she will oppose the nomination of Justice Hardelesa. Okay, because the Chief Justice is the ex-official chairman of the Judicial and Bar Council, i-oppose daw niya. So, siyempre si Justice Hardelesa nagtanong, bakit? Ano bang ginawa ko? Bakit mo kayo oppose? Ay, hindi pwede basta. I don't think you're fit to be in the Supreme Court. So, in short, si Justice Hardelesa nag-file ng kaso. Okay? Nag-file ng kaso. Look, sinasabi mo na hindi ako fit maging appointed to the Supreme Court. Bakit? Ano yung allegation mo? Again, the right, due process, the right to be informed of the nature and cause of accusation. Yun lang tinatanong nila. Ano yung ginawa ko? Pwede ba ipaalam mo sa akin? Ang sabi niya, ang nangyayari, hindi, you are not given that opportunity to be informed. Okay? Ano sabi ni Supreme Court? Yes, although, again, that word, sui generis, ang proceedings sa Judicial and Bar Council, but that does not mean that you do not have the right to cross-examine the accusations against you. Hindi pwedeng sa'yo, basta sinabi ko, ayoko sa'yo, hindi ka pwede, tapos. Hindi pa pwede yun. So now, going back to the issue, does Attorney Gadon have personal knowledge of what happened in Judicial and Bar Council, which was the basis of the case that I cited? Yes! You know why? Because that Supreme Court decision is a public record. You see, it's a public record. In the rules of evidence, okay, ano ang ebidensya? Ang ebidensya ay yung mga bagay-bagay, facts, okay, and circumstances, documents, testimony that will establish the truth, okay, in a judicial proceeding. That is evidence. Okay? There are some evidence that you need not prove anymore. There are some facts you need not prove anymore. Perfect example, a day has 24 hours. Diba? Pupunta ka ng korte, one of the issues, ilang oras sa isang araw. Hindi na kailangan mag-present ng evidence kasi common knowledge na yan. Okay? night and day. Alam natin, di ba, that there is night and day. Yan ang tinatawag na judicial notice already. You did not prove that. Going to this case of the Supreme Court, ayan, tuloy. Okay, going to this case of the Supreme Court, this is what you call already a public record, okay? And the Supreme Court itself and all bodies, okay, all judicial or quasi-judicial bodies like the Committee on Justice will take judicial notice of that. Why? Because the rules of evidence state that, you know, the official acts of any government instrumentality in the Philippines, you need not prove it anymore. Okay? Ebidensya na yan. It is already of judicial notice. Ginawa yan ng Supreme Court, official act nila. Yan na ebidensya na. Now, as to whether Attorney Gadon has personal knowledge, yes. Okay? The recital of the facts of the Supreme Court in that decision and the decision already are of judicial notice. You don't need to prove that anymore. So, ergo, it is the equivalent of he has personal knowledge. Okay? So, sa mga nagtatanong dyan on personal knowledge, as to the other allegations, like I said, I have not read the complaint yet, and you know, it has not yet been discussed. Or maybe it has been discussed, but I missed it. Siyempre, busy din tayo, naghahanap buhay din tayo, di ba? So, yun ang masasabi ko. Okay? Now, ito medyo let's get out of the legal, no? Since, you know, ako, I deem it proper kasi since education radio tayo dito, di ba? Ito ang title ng show natin. Let's try to go down to the what. Di ba? To the what. Tsaka na muna yung how and why and where and when, di ba? Yung mga ganon, okay? Let's go down, let's try to go down to the basics. Ngayon, that is the legal aspect, no? Let's go to the political, okay? What does this mean? There were allegations by the Chief Justice that, you know, the President is, di ba, the President is engineering, ika nga eh, siya ang nagmamaniobra daw nitong impeachment laban sa kanya. She's going to the media, okay, her lawyers, her spokesperson, and saying, it is the President that is engineering all of this, okay? Now, whether that is true or not, we cannot say at this point. Okay? Siguro, again, it's a political exercise, di ba? I mean, personally, my opinion that if the President engineer is the one behind it, siya nagmamaniobra, eh ano ngayon? Di ba? Political exercise kasi yan eh. Bakit nung panahon ni Chief Justice Corona, di ba? We know for a fact that the President Aquino at that time went to town. Binira ng binira si Chief Justice Corona. And we knew that, you know, he was solidly behind moves to impeach Chief Justice Corona. In fact, di ba, si Senator J.Y. Estrada in-expose nga niya na, di ba, they were given, quote-unquote, an allotment of 50 million pesos to identify certain projects that they can use. Di ba? There was an additional allotment for them for voting guilty. The House of Representatives, di ba? It was, wala pa yatang 3 hours eh. Yung mga iba nga, hindi nila nabasa yung impeachment complaint eh. Diniretso kagad sa Senate for trial. Di ba? So on that score, that is the political aspect of this process, no? So ako, personally, I cannot understand if, you know, I cannot understand why the Chief Justice now would complain that the President is behind it. Pero, you know, the President before the current President was also behind the impeachment of another Chief Justice. So what's your problem, di ba? Ika nga, eh, ano, di ba, tabla-tabla lang tayo, pare-pareho lang tayo, di ba? Now, I read also that, you know, okay, there were some senators who were given an ako, you know, senators at this point should not be talking about that because, you know, it's clear, like I said earlier, she is impeached. It will go to the Senate for trial. Senators at this point should not even be talking about the impeachment and giving the review. Why? Because they will be sitting in judgment And again, let's go back to due process. What is one of the requirements of due process? You need an impartial judge. A judge who will only vote based on the evidence. Okay? That is essential to due process. If you have your personal opinions about it, it's more prudent to keep it to yourself. Okay? Now, there are some senators who were saying that, you know, a vote to impeach Chief Justice Corona is a vote for democracy. Now, a vote to impeach the Chief Justice Sereno is a vote against democracy. Eh, ano ba talaga, kuya? Di ba? Hindi ba parehong Chief Justice lang yan, parehong proseso? Dati, sabi mo, to uphold democracy. Ngayon, to defeat democracy. Ano bang pinagkaiba? Ako, basically, I don't see any difference. Di ba? I mean, you know, almost the same set of facts. Di ba? Different lang nga yung ruta. Di ba? Yung procedure, yung procedural due process na tinatawag. Pero yung punot dulo niyan, yung papupuntahan nitong impeachment, eh pareho lang. Di ba? Na magkakaroon ng desisyon. Whether ma-acquit si Chief Justice Sereno or ma-convict siya, pareho lang kay Chief Justice Corona. Pareho lang silang patutunguhan. Ang pinagkaiba lang siguro at this point is, alam natin yung nangyari kay Chief Justice Corona. Natanggal siya sa pwesto. Itong si Chief Justice Sereno, hindi pa natin alam yan. Okay? So, that's the, that's the current hottest issue now. Okay? So, what is the, may mga nagtatanong din, may mga diskusyon din, may mga nakakausap ako. Ano ngayon yung political implication dyan kay Presidente, for example? Okay, let's assume nga si Presidente ang nasa likod nito. Ano ba magiging political implication niya? Well, it could go both ways again, di ba? Just like anything, di ba? If you handle it well, the people approve of it, then you maintain your popularity and trust ratings, di ba? Or maybe it can even go higher. If you budge it, or, di ba, pumalpak ka dyan, di ba, may ginawa kang kalokohan, para lang maisulong yung gusto mo, eh, tatamaan ka dyan. Di ba? So, yun ang political implication dyan, as far as I can see with the President. Alam nyo, as to the economy, ganun, alam mo, medyo parang sanay na tayo eh, di ba? Hindi na, tingnan mo, walang, hindi na masyadong hype up, not like before. Siguro, because people, ang tao ngayon, medyo, let's face it, di ba, napaso dati sa impeachment ni Chief Justice Corona kasi ang daming paratang at haka-haka na, naman pala eh, hindi naman pala totoo eh. So people now are more cautious, di ba? Hindi sila tatalon kagad at magte-take na agad ng posisyon at magkakaroon na ng idea na ano to, hindi, wala siyang kasalanan, hindi, may kasalanan siya. Wala nang ganun eh, hindi mo na mararamdaman masyado ngayon yan eh. Siguro natuto na rin ang tao, which is good naman, di ba? Yan ang kailangan kasi natin, medyo discerning tayo, medyo bago tayo mag-react, di ba? Bago tayo maging emotional, eh medyo step back muna, teka muna, tignan muna natin, di ba? Anong pinag-ano natin? So, in addition to that also, tripartite system of government, di ba? Separation, yung tinatawag na separation of powers, di ba? You have the judiciary, which is the Supreme Court and all the courts. You have the legislature, Congress, House of Representatives and Senate, and the executive, the president, and the LGUs, and the cabinet secretaries, and the different agencies. Okay? So, which is, as to my mind, it is as it should be, no? If there is any internal, if there is any controversy of the Supreme Court, business as usual. Pagdating sa mga ibang branches of government, di ba, tuloy pa rin ang trabaho. Hindi naman ibig sabihin di ba, may drama tayo sa TV araw-araw, tigil na lahat. Hindi naman gano'n yun, di ba? Kailangan pa rin natin pumasok. Kailangan pa rin natin maghanap buhay. Lalo na ngayon, nagki-Christmas na, syempre. Di ba, inaantay natin yung mga bonus natin. Di ba, malaking gastos sa Pasko, lalo na yung mga natin, yung mga inaanak natin. Diyos ko po, ayun. Hindi mo nga kilala, bigla na lang pinupuntahan ka, di ba? Ano pa magagawa mo, di ba? Kaya naman kay kumpare at kay kumare. So, yun ang Pero what I can say is, let's, for students of the law, like me, I still consider myself a student of the law. Because, ang law practice, this is where you practice, you cannot make it perfect, di ba? It will be a good exercise na subaybayan natin itong impeachment proceedings. Kasi marami tayong matututunan eh. Okay? Ako personally, nagagamit ko rin yung mga points raised doon sa kasi yung mga kaso-kaso na hinahawakan ko, di ba, it's also helpful for me professionally, professionally of course, and for us in general mga citizens natin, it's also it's also very very helpful, di ba, natututo tayo sa batas. Ika nga kasi, di ba, may kasabihan tayo, ignorance of the law does not excuse anyone from compliance. So ayan na po, I have to comply also kasi time na. And I cannot be ignorant of this kasi sinabihan na ako na time na. Okay? So, thank you very much sa lahat ng nakinig. Thank you sa mga nagtanong, ha? Hope to see you, hope to hear from you or to read your questions again next time dito po sa Education Radio 810 DCRJ on your dial. Till next week, hopefully, on behalf of Ms. Pia Morato, good morning sa inyong lahat. Have a nice weekend.
A-Try Media, DZRJ, ang himpilan ng bawat Pilipino.
This newscast is brought to you by the Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office. Pusong Filipino, Pusong Panalo.
The BBC in London goes direct to the Raja Broadcasting Network, DZRJ, 8:10 AM, with a live news update.
That the search for the submarine and its 44 crew members would continue. Ships and planes from Argentina, the United States, Britain, Chile, and Brazil were involved in the operation. The Mexican government has created a marine reserve around a chain of 4 volcanic islands off the country's Pacific coast. It'll become the